Silence is a very versatile tool. It manipulates your biology and psychology, making you second-guess every action. It's not scary because there is no sound. It's scary because it takes information away from you and makes every mistake costly. And when you don't know what's safe, your brain and imagination fill the gaps. Silence is a very versatile tool in horror games. In Friday the 13th, for example, silence can be both your friend and your enemy, depending on whether you play as a survivor or Jason. If you accidentally slam the door, jump through the window, or simply sprint, Jason will be alerted to your location. The player will see circles across the entire map. Overkill's The Walking Dead, on the other hand, makes being loud a cardinal sin. Every time you make a sound, like shooting a gun, the loudness meter goes up. Shoot once, more zombies will come. Shoot twice, even more zombies will come. And if you shoot a third time, the whole neighborhood will come to turn you into a Happy Meal. Five Nights at Freddy's uses silence in two different ways. At first, silence means that nothing bad is happening. You can even use audio to improve your chances of surviving the night. For example, you understand that loud sounds in the kitchen only happen when Chica is there. Since the camera has no video feed, the sound becomes your eyes. Freddy's laughter works the same way. You understand that each laugh means that Freddy is moving closer to the office. The audio remains unsettling, sure, but it's predictable and gives you power. However, as energy becomes low, the game starts using silence to raise tension. You stop checking your camera feed as often, which leaves you vulnerable to Chica. You don't know if she's moving closer, because you can't listen to the audio feed from the kitchen, and when the power runs out completely, you can relax, because there's no more uncertainty, which is far more terrifying in this setting than any loud jump scare. With jump scares, at least you know what to expect, but that only works the first couple of times. However, silence is the hardest thing to implement. It's a delicate balance. If the game uses it for very specific moments fixed in place, it can become very obvious and repetitive, taking away the precious tension. Left 4 Dead is the perfect example. You can throw rocks at me, but hear me out. If you act recklessly and accidentally hit a car, an alarm will go off, alerting every zombie in the area. It will make your life way harder than it should be. But there is a problem. Gunshots don't alert the zombies, yet car alarms do, even though gunshots are way louder. Moreover, after playing a map or two, you learn that if you don't touch those cars, you'll be okay. That absolutely destroys the tension that the game tries so hard to build up. The game becomes fun rather than scary. Back 4 Blood suffers from the same problem. The game is darker and looks more like a horror movie than Left 4 Dead 2, but the problem remains. If you accidentally disturb a flock of birds, they will fly away, alerting every zombie to come get you. Apparently, flying birds are way louder than gunshots. It goes to show that using silence to shape gameplay mechanics is a very hard thing to do. Sometimes it is way easier and more impactful to use silence as contrast, or as a storytelling tool. Silent Hill, for example, uses silence as contrast. While you're on the streets, there are a lot of sounds and ambient music. However, as soon as you step inside a building, the world goes quiet. All you hear is your own footsteps echoing down the hallways. What's supposed to make you feel safe actually makes you feel even more scared and tense. This game knows perfectly well that the lack of constant sounds is what makes the few audible sounds truly horrifying. For example, in the remake of Silent Hill 2, James finds an old radio and it becomes your ally. The closer you are to the monster, the louder the radio gets. Should you come too close, it becomes loud, raising your blood pressure and making you sit tight in your chair, expecting to see the monster around the corner. Combine that with constant darkness around you and you get a recipe for a heart attack. Dead Space is another great example. Once again, there is barely any music. What you do hear are distant screams of survivors, the roar of monsters, system failure sounds, and the sounds of the station falling apart. Those sounds become very clear precisely because of the use of silence. The section in space takes it to the whole other level because there can't be any sound in space. It's pure physics. During that section, you have to be very careful with your moves because monsters can come out of nowhere without any warning. But here's where it gets interesting. The room that you enter right after that moment is safe. There are no monsters to attack you, but because of the contrast, the sudden loud noises make you feel scared and in danger. Soma, however, uses silence as a storytelling tool. Before we continue, beware of spoilers ahead, so if you haven't played the game but intend to, you can skip to the time code you see on the screen. Now, Simon, the main character of the game, wakes up on a futuristic underwater base. He has no clue what's happening because the entirety of the world was destroyed by an asteroid. His consciousness was copied, so in a way he survived the apocalypse. Walking around the base, he meets Catherine Chun, a digital consciousness who guides him through the said base. She informs Simon that the only way to save the human race is to activate the shuttle, the Ark, that contains copies of the minds of a large number of people. At the end of the game, Simon and Catherine manage to activate the Ark, but in a dark twist of fate, they are doomed to remain where they are. All the noises symbolizing the activation of the Ark fade out, leaving the player hanging in silence, feeling hopelessness and dread. There is no way out. If you're enjoying the video so far, consider subscribing and joining the Discord server, link below. Back to the video. However, there are two games that take the importance of sound to an extreme and make it obsolete. Games where your every action can be lethal, almost every time. A Quiet Place and Alien Isolation. A Quiet Place is a video game adaptation of a famous movie franchise of the same name. The name of the game makes it obvious that silence is your best friend and that making any noise can prove fatal. You play as Alex Taylor, a young asthmatic college student with great engineering skills that became essential after the apocalypse. Alex built herself a device that monitors the noise level around her. It also tracks whether or not Alex is being too loud. There is no room for mistakes. If you step on a piece of glass, a stick on the ground, or open the door too quickly, the monster will rush to your location as fast as possible. This game is slow and forces you to focus on the environment around you constantly. Silence is your one and only friend. The game uses this gameplay mechanic very thoughtfully. If you accidentally make a lot of noise, you have a little bit of time to slightly move away and freeze. The monster will come to your last known location and all you have to do is stay silent. And that is absolutely terrifying. Alien Isolation does something very similar. Silence both intensifies the atmosphere and serves as your best friend. Just like in Dead Space, you hear a lot of metallic sounds, system failure sounds, and the roar of generators. But your footsteps aren't the only ones out there. There is an alien on the ship, and you are being haunted. But unlike A Quiet Place, in Alien Isolation, sounds are a two-way street. If you hear a door opening, footsteps, or roars somewhere in the distance, you can almost certainly pinpoint the exact location. In both games, however, every action you take leaves you questioning whether you are too loud and whether you're about to become a Happy Meal for an alien invader.